Let me say something that people are feeling but don't say out loud too often. There's a tension right now, and it's not random. It's not just about politics, not just about immigration, it's not just about jobs. It's about an alignment. It's about whether people who are all dealing with the same shitty circumstances uh, and the same pressure from the same system actually understand that they're in the same damn system, in the same damn position. Because from where I'm standing, it don't always look like that. And that's where the frustration comes from. Because us Black Americans, and I'm going to speak plainly about this, we come from a history where there was no option but to deal with the system head on. There was no blending in. We don't pass as white. There was no stepping around it. There was no getting close to it for protection. It was pressure. And over time, that creates a mindset in the Black community. It created a mindset for most of us. You learn how to move under pressure. You learn how to adapt. And you learn how to survive without expecting the system to protect you. And that's how we feel about this system. This is how Black people feel about this United States system. So when you look around now and you see the other groups, like you Latinos, you Hispanics, and we see other groups navigating that same system, but not always recognizing what it actually is.
Do you want to talk about upholding white supremacy and how Latinos play a role into it? Because if you do, you've come to the right place. Because one of the biggest disappointments that came out from the election and Kamala Harris losing the election is me discovering how many Latinos not only voted for that man, but actively voted against our community and actively spoke ill will of immigrants when so many of them are descendants of immigrants themselves. Let's talk about that. And how so much of this is tied to the need to feel close to whiteness, the proximity to whiteness. Think about that, okay?
That creates tension for us because we see what it is. Because what should be happening is coordination between us and the Latino community, an awareness, understanding that if the multiple groups are dealing with pressure from the same structure, then moving together would make everybody stronger. Because once Black people do good, everybody else do good too. I don't know why that is, but it always is the way it is.
We Latinos need to unite together. I absolutely agree with you 100%, and that is precisely why I create this type of content. White supremacy clearly understands that a united Latino population is indeed their greatest threat, since we are the fastest and largest growing demographic in this country, especially if we decide to also unite with all of our brothers and sisters of color who are being equally suppressed by the evils of white supremacy. In other words, white supremacy's ultimate goal behind their strategic intimidation and indoctrination of us Latinos here in the U.S. and all people of color for that matter is to either keep us insignificant or too busy licking their nuts, which unfortunately in both instances they have so far succeeded because we are not being united against our real enemies. Stay woke, people.
That's just logic. That's how leverage works. But instead, what you often see is separation. People moving individually, groups moving individually, people trying to figure it out on their own, groups trying to figure it out on their own, people trying to position themselves differently inside the same system. Y'all ain't white. I don't understand why you Hispanics don't get, y'all ain't white. And you are never going to be seen as that.
Okay, now for today's Latino PSA. Y'all ready? Many Latinos support white supremacy without even knowing it. So let's start by defining what white supremacy is. So white supremacy by definition is the belief that white people are superior to all other races, especially the African race. Many Latinos want to act like this doesn't apply to them, but I want you to think about how many times Latinos want to emphasize their indigenous descent and their European descent and really reject anything that connects to African heritage. For example, consider this term, pelo malo, which some Latinos use to describe bad hair. This bad hair that they're talking about is hair that's curly and coarse and that resembling black hair, while good hair resembles that of European descent. What we're saying here is African hair bad, European hair good, which spreads the lie that blackness is inferior and less beautiful.
And I don't understand why y'all work against other minorities, trying to be a part of a system that you're never going to be a part of. Okay, that's the part that's frustrating, because it feels like there's a lack of recognition that this is what's going on, a lack of understanding what's actually happening out here in the world. Because if you don't recognize the structure, you don't recognize the supremacy, the white supremacy, you can't respond to it effectively. And it seems to us like y'all groveling for scraps. And if people respond to it individually instead of collectively, then the structure never really gets addressed. And we can't really address this whole system if y'all continue to grovel under white supremacy. It just keeps operating the way that it's operating. Everybody inside it keeps feeling the same pressure in different ways, but still feeling it. But that's where the bigger issue is. Because this ain't about one group against the other. It's about what happens when people who could be aligned, who could be together, are not. Because alignment doesn't happen automatically. It requires awareness.
And I know a lot of people out there are like, oh, well, that's their problem. But can you imagine, and this is where the lack of empathy plays a role. Can you imagine if you had no opportunities in your country, or if you were in a war-torn country, or if you fell into a dictatorship? Can you imagine feeling like the only option you have is to immigrate to another country, and for that country to be like, nah, or for the people of that country to be like, don't care about you. No. And to do that to your own people,
Are you all aware? You Hispanic, Latino community, are you aware of what this system of white supremacy is doing to you all? It requires honesty, awareness. It requires people to look at the situation clearly, honestly, not from their own position of maybe privilege because they close to whiteness. And right now, that clarity is not always there with y'all. And that's what people are reacting to. That's what I'm reacting to. Get into the motherfucking game. And not just what's happening, but what's been happening. The missed opportunity, the lack of coordination between the sense that people are dealing with the same system, but not moving like they understand that what time it is. And that matters, because when pressure increases, and it's been increasing, they building more facilities to get rid of y'all people. So the system is starting to tighten. Resources are becoming strained. Those dynamics don't just stay the same. They get amplified. So the real question becomes, what happens? What's going on? Y'all, like, it's like we got to slap y'all and wake y'all up. When does the awareness catch up to y'all? And Latinos start recognizing what actually in front of y'all. Because if there's no recognition, there's no alignment. And without alignment, there's no real leverage. And without leverage, nothing really changes. So this ain't about division. It's about understanding where you at. It's about asking whether people see the situation clearly, whether you understand that you're a cog in the wheel, that you understand that you on a chopping block, and whether you're willing to respond to it in a way that actually makes a difference. Because right now, that's the part that feels unresolved. And until that gets addressed, the tension ain't going nowhere. And we all gonna be frustrated, because I don't understand why y'all don't get where you at in this circle.
Yeah, I just want to go on the record right now as a Hispanic woman living in this country, and we must dismantle white supremacy. This just cannot continue. We must call out and we must dismantle racism wherever we see it, against Black people, against Asian people, against Hispanic people, against everybody. White people, you need to call out what you think are the little insidious jokes that your friends are making. You need to call that out and let them know that that's not going to be tolerated anymore. Stop making those jokes. White people, come and collect all of your fellow white people. Seriously. Knock it off. Dismantle white supremacy.
Where you at? I don't understand it, but y'all leave me some comments so I can understand what's going on.